You Jamaicans are more African than certain Africans here on the African continent.
Yeah.
I love these Jamaicans because they know the truth and they know where they're from. They understand Africanism, true Pan-Africanism. Jamaicans
that comes from within for the Jamaicans, African unity, Pan-Africanism.
we need look, Jamaicans, you are welcome to your motherland anytime, any day. Even in my house, you are welcome. These Jamaican people are the best when it comes to this, and they show so much support even for Burkina Faso's Captain Ibrahim Traore. Yes, the Jamaicans are out here. I saw you guys protesting on the 30th of April in support, in solidarity with Captain Ibrahim Traore. In my opinion, the only one and truly head of state of Africa.
Yes, yes.
Do your thing, get online, tweet about it, put an X out there, show your support.
What's up, guys? Welcome once again to my YouTube channel. Jamaica isn't in Africa, but for many people it feels like Africa. How is that even possible? You step into Jamaica and you hear drums, you see the colors, you feel the energy, you taste the food, you hear the language, and instantly reminds you of West Africa. Today we are breaking down why Jamaica carries Africa so strongly, maybe even more than some places on the continent itself. The answer is deep, historical, cultural, and honestly emotional. Stay until the end. The final point will shock you.
Africa is a root, and this is where we must return to. Africa's so rich that it become a man just going to Africa, steal out where a man steal and carry back in a country. And Africa stay the like,
Garvey used to say Africa for the African.
Yeah, Africa for Africans, a woman abroad, True. Go and be in Africa. Jamaica must make some part of Africa own Jamaica. But if it's going to be a thing which we always going to have a war. Because the only solution make Jamaica become some African, something to do with Africa, that Africa owns Jamaica, And I'm saying that the white man don't make some, but all wisdom come from the black man. Africa awaits its creators.
A lot of people don't know that Jamaicans are extremely Ghanaian, not just because they take so long when you order food from there. They be like, chicken ready when it's ready, man. Not just for that reason, but genetically. In this process of self-discovery, I went from Ghana to Jamaica to Kingston up in the mountains to a maroon village called Akrompong. The Maroons are the people that escaped from slavery almost as soon as they hit the island, because they looking around, they're like, I know what to do with this. I'm out of here. The Maroons fought the British for 60, 70, 80 years until they reached a point where the British had to grant them sovereignty. Up in this maroon village, Akrompong. Akrompong is the name of a place in Ghana. The most famous Maroons, Kojo. Like my name is Kwesi and Kweku. They're like the basic Ghanaian names. They speak Twi words and some of their patois. One of the wildest parts about it to me too is the fact that these people have had sovereignty and freedom since the 1600s. In that time, they have had 2 murders. They're so deeply in tune with their natural state as African people. Not only that, everybody owns the land. There's no ownership of land because land is something that God provided for everybody. You can grow your food and feed your family. I don't know, is that socialism? I guess African societies were kind of like rooted in a sort of socialism.
Now, hold on. Did you catch that? When people from Africa say Jamaica feels like home, that's not just about scenery. They are talking about the rhythm of the place, the drum beats, the proverbs, the way people raise their children, the spiritual beliefs, even the resistance against oppression. And let's not forget, Jamaica didn't just inherit African culture by default. It preserved it and in some ways even protected it from erasure. And some people may say that Jamaica has kept things African countries have forgotten at some point. And again, let's be honest, colonization affected all of us, but some African nations were pushed so hard towards European languages, religions, and customs at the same time that certain indigenous practices were lost or even demonized. Meanwhile, in Jamaica, people risked their lives to keep those same traditions alive. Think about the Maroons. I made a video about that. They freed slaves who built entire hidden communities in the mountains, or Queen Nani, who led guerrilla warfare using African military tactics passed down for generations. I've made videos of this. You can just check it out in my YouTube channel. And Jamaicans didn't just remember where they came from, they made sure nobody forgot. So let's wrap it up with a few final videos showing how these cultural echoes are still alive and well today. Then I'll be back.
I just want to repeat the question: are you Jamaican or African? The question in and of itself is inherently flawed and reeks of bad faith. Because one, Jamaica is a country and Africa is a continent. Secondly, when that question, are you Jamaican or are you African, is asked, the question is not about a ancestry, it's about a present day identity. Jamaicans are very much aware and claim their African ancestry. Many claiming the modern state of Ghana, claiming that the majority of enslaved Jamaicans came from the Gold Coast, while others lay claim to the modern state of Nigeria, claiming terms such as Red Igbo and words like Uno being their rationale. And there's even a few who cite Sierra Leone as their ancestral place of origin due to the fact that many enslaved Jamaicans actually were sent back to Sierra Leone and the similarity between Jamaican Patois and Sierra Leone Creole.
Well, that was beautifully said. So what do we do with all this? To me, it's a powerful reminder that African identity doesn't begin and end with geography alone. Africa is a culture, it's a soul, a resistance, and sometimes those who are scattered the farthest held on the tightest. And Jamaica is one of those places, even thousands of miles away. Through slavery, colonization, and pain, African traditions lived on, and not just in language or music, but in values as well, and in community, in resistance, in their pride. So when someone says Jamaica is more African than Africa, it's not an insult, it's a challenge. And it's a call for all of us to look at how we are honoring the cultures we came from, no matter where we live. Because keeping a culture alive, that's not something that just happens. It's a decision, it's a fight. And in Jamaica, that fight never stopped. So guys, that is what I had for today. Let me know your take. I want to hear from you. Do you agree that Jamaica has preserved more of Africans' tradition than some African countries? Or do you still think this comparison is unfair? Let's talk about it in the comments. Your perspective matters. And if this video opened your eyes or made you think, hit that like button, share it with your friend, and subscribe for more deep stories from around the world. And to all my returning subscribers, I see you and I appreciate you more than you know. Thank you for riding with me and being part of this journey. And if you're new here, you're very welcomed. You're officially invited to join the family. We don't just watch videos here, we also have real conversations that matter. So don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss an upload. From global stories to cultural truths, I cover it all, raw, honest, and unapologetic. And hey, drop a comment below. I love hearing your thoughts, your perspectives, your stories. Let's keep this conversation alive in the comment section. This is Trending Pulse Worldwide. My name is Amy, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Be blessed.
What's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Let's start with the roots. Over 90% of Jamaica's population is descended from enslaved Africans, mainly from Ghana, Nigeria, Congo, and the surrounding regions. But here is the key. While many countries blended cultures over centuries, Jamaica's African heritage stayed very concentrated. Why? Because enslaved Africans on the island fought hard to preserve their traditions. The Maroons kept their language, their drumming, their communities, and their identity. The enslaved people kept their proverbs, their rhythm, and their spiritual systems. Jamaica didn't lose Africa. Jamaica protected it. Patois isn't broken English. It's an African-rooted language. Words like Onu, which means you all, and it came from West African. Dapi means spirit. It comes from tree and Akan origin. Nyam, it means it. It came from Akan. Pikini, which means child, and came from West Africa. Rhythms, sentence, structure, expression, straight from Igbo, Yoruba, and Akan speech patterns. When Africans in Jamaica weren't allowed to speak English, they built their own version, deeply African at the core. That's why people say Jamaican speech sounds African, because it is. Walk through Jamaica and you will experience African culture everywhere. Bami, festivals, aki, yams, ground provisions, the method of seasoning and marinating, even the way people cook over wood fire. All African techniques. Reggae, dancehall, kumina, revival, all pull directly from African drums, chants, and rhythms. Bob Marley himself said, reggae is Africa's heartbeat outside of Africa. Kumina, revivalism, and Rastafari all carry African energy, beliefs, and symbolism. When you add all of these together, Jamaica feels like a preserved African village modernized for 2025. Here is the surprising part. Some people visit Jamaica and say it feels more African than parts of Africa today. Why? Because colonization affected Africa heavily too. Some traditions faded, mixed or changed. Some countries became very westernized in culture, clothing, and lifestyle. But Jamaica fought to keep the African spirit alive and never let it go. So the island became a cultural time capsule of Africa's heartbeat. The warmth, the community, the jokes, the storytelling, the rhythm, all of it comes from Africa. Jamaicans aren't African by geography. They are African by spirit, ancestry, memory, and culture. That's why people say Jamaica feels like Africa, just in the Caribbean. Whether you are Jamaican, African, or part of the global diaspora, this connection is something to be proud of. Jamaica may be small, but its African energy is huge. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, like, comment, and subscribe for more diaspora content. And tell me, which country should I compare next?